We all seek happiness in life, but have you ever wondered, why do people still suffer? Why, even when we have wealth, fame, or love, do we still feel empty, anxious, or dissatisfied? In life, we inevitably face birth, aging, sickness, and death. We experience separation, loss, and unfulfilled desires. This is suffering, an undeniable truth. But is suffering permanent? Is there a way for us to break free from this cycle of suffering? Today, let's explore suffering in Buddhism, one of the fundamental teachings of the Buddha. By understanding the nature of suffering, its causes, and the path to liberation, we can find a way to true peace and happiness. So let's explore. What is suffering? According to the Buddha, suffering is not just physical pain, but also emotional distress, anxiety, fear, loss, and dissatisfaction. Did you know that even with material wealth, we can still feel restless and unfulfilled? This is because suffering is not only caused by external circumstances, but also arises from our own minds. Buddhism teaches that life is inherently suffering, but the key lies in understanding it and finding a way to overcome it. So in Buddhism, suffering is divided into 3 types of suffering and 8 kinds of suffering. Did you know this? Let's explore together. Suffering can be categorized into 3 main types, each deeply connected to our human experience. Dukkha, suffering of suffering. This is the most obvious type of suffering, including physical pain, illness, hunger, and emotional distress. Example: when we are sick, we feel physical pain and emotional exhaustion. This is dukkha. Viparinama dukkha, suffering due to change. This suffering arises from impermanence, anicca. We enjoy wealth and youth, but we suffer when we lose them. Example: we are happy when we are young and healthy, but as we age and lose our vitality, we feel miserable. Sankhara dukkha, suffering due to conditioned existence. This is the most subtle form of suffering, arising from the very nature of our existence. Even when everything seems fine, our minds remain restless, always wanting more. Example: a wealthy person may still feel anxious about losing their fortune. A famous person may fear being forgotten. Have you ever felt that no matter how much you achieve, there's always something missing? That's sankhara dukkha. In addition to the 3 main types of suffering, the Buddha identified 8 forms of suffering that all humans face. Suffering of birth, jadi dukkha. A baby cries when born, signifying the challenges of life. Suffering of aging, jara dukkha. As we age, we lose our health, beauty, and mental sharpness. Suffering of illness, vyadi dukkha. No matter how rich or powerful we are, we cannot escape sickness. Suffering of death, marana dukkha. Death is inevitable, yet humans fear and resist it. Suffering of separation from loved ones, apiyehi vipayoga dukkha. We grieve when we lose those we love. Suffering of encountering what we dislike, piyehi vipayoga dukkha. We suffer when we are forced to be with people or situations we detest. Suffering of unfulfilled desires, yampicham nalabhati dukkha. We suffer when we don't get what we want. Suffering caused by the 5 aggregates, panjupadana kanda dukkha. We suffer because we cling to our body, feelings, thoughts, perceptions, and consciousness. Do any of these sufferings feel familiar? They are the everyday struggles that we all go through, often without even realizing their true nature. If suffering is a reality, what causes it? The Buddha taught that suffering originates from the 3 poisons of the mind: craving, anger, and ignorance. Craving, tanha. We constantly desire more wealth, more love, more success. But when we don't get it, we suffer. Anger, dosa. Hatred and resentment poison our minds, making us restless and unhappy. Ignorance, moha. We fail to see the truth about impermanence and cling to illusions, leading to suffering. Have you ever been trapped in these 3 mental states? If so, you now understand why suffering persists in life. If suffering is inevitable, how can we escape it? The Buddha provided a clear solution through the Noble Eightfold Path. Arya Athangika Magga. Right view, samadhi. Understanding life as it truly is, impermanent and ever-changing. Right thought, samasankappa. Cultivating positive, compassionate thinking. Right speech, samavaka. Speaking truthfully and kindly. Right action, samakamanta. Acting ethically and avoiding harm. Right livelihood, sama-ajiva. Earning a living through honest and compassionate means. Right effort, samavayama. Striving to eliminate negativity and cultivate goodness. Right mindfulness, samasati. Being present and aware, free from distractions. Right concentration, samasamadhi. Practicing meditation to develop inner peace and wisdom. By following these 8 steps, we can gradually free ourselves from suffering and experience lasting peace. Dear friends, suffering is not a punishment or destiny, it is a lesson. By recognizing and understanding suffering, we can transform it into a path of growth and wisdom. Happiness does not come from external possessions, but from inner awareness and liberation. By practicing mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, we can find true peace and contentment. Thank you for listening. I hope today's talk has given you a new perspective on life, on yourself, and on the path to true happiness.